We were talking a little bit about the domestic violence, and you were mentioning that you may think that okay, the cops came and they didn't jail you, and it's not a big deal. There could be a lot of ramifications depending on the severity of what happened.
Well, actually, most of the time, if the cops come, the protocol since O.J. Simpson, so the operating procedure of law enforcement is supposed to be that if they see a visible sign of injury, and it could be small, it could just be a red mark on the skin, obviously a cut or anything like that, that substantiates an act of domestic violence, they must arrest.
I've actually unfortunately witnessed that with a family member that had nothing to do with it. She was a nut job, was literally slamming herself against the wall with the phone in her hand while he was in another room with his buddy saying, video this because I'm not touching her.
Yeah.
He still got hauled away.
It is sad. It's really very difficult to figure out how wide to cast the net. The concern is to leave a victim unprotected. And unfortunately, I just had a case last week where apparently that happened. I don't know where protocol broke down, but the client was elevated off the ground, pinned against a wall, being elevated by two hands around her neck.
Ooh.
So the police did come. They arrested. Failure number one. The police have access to a Superior Court commissioner who has a cell phone 24 hours a day.
Oh, wow.
They make a call. They can get what's called an emergency protective order. It lasts for a period of 5 days to allow the victim to seek further court protection in the form of a restraining order. They didn't issue an EPO. They took him to jail, said, well, he's going to be here 2 days anyway, waiting for his arraignment. A few hours, he's back at the house.
Oh, really? How he can get out that quick?
Bailed out.
Oh, that probably didn't end well.
No. Further acts of domestic violence, this time some significant physical injury to the victim.
Especially after
further
she called
arrests.
the cops. He's even more mad now.
Yeah, it went from bad to much, much worse.
So is that a failure on the police officer, or
I mean, we're looking into it. I mean, I won't handle the civil aspect of it, but I've advised the client that she has a significant potential lawsuit, certainly against the husband and potentially against authorities for failure to follow their own protocol.
Wow.
Yeah, that's a serious break.
I didn't know they had that opportunity to make that call to take action. That's kind of nice, though, because obviously there's a reason behind it.
Exactly. It's essential. The reason that it exists there is because, you are presumed innocent until proven guilty. So while you're taken in and you're detained and then you're arrested, you do get access to bail in most cases. And, you make that call and the next thing you know, you're out.
Doesn't the judge have to issue what the bail amount is, though? So
no, they have generally a bail schedule. You're charged with this is what the scheduled bail is.
Gotcha. Okay.
Wow.
So anyway, yeah, it is one of these things that the innocent person can be the one who's hauled away. I mean, we've seen many instances of that, and that's why a strenuous defense to these types of cases becomes critically important, because it's talking about the situation where, you go in, you plead to some lesser included charge, you get to go home, maybe some community service, and you think you're scot-free. Well, if you happen to be in a dating relationship or something like that where, let's say if you talk about kids, and you happen to want to have a relationship with your children, the fact that that act of domestic violence happened and the fact that you pled guilty or no contest to an act of domestic violence gives rise to a presumption under the law. Generally, we presume that parents are entitled to frequent and continuing contact with their children. Not the case if there's a perpetrator of domestic violence. We have a new presumption. The presumption there it is detrimental to either award that abuser custody or to order the victim to share custody with the abuser. That presumption lasts for a period of 5 years.
Oh.
It's rebuttable, but basically the way that you rebut it is you show that you've gone through your battering classes, you've gone through your drug and alcohol classes if applicable, you've gone through parenting classes, and you basically have demonstrated to the court that, I got the message.
That is serious.
So they could lose their kids, he or she, for 5 years.
Absolutely lose your kids, lose your money. Again, if it's an act of domestic violence, it's not just the family law attorney that you have to worry about. It's the civil attorney, particularly if you have assets, because you're going to get sued.
Oh, okay. Before we go, I want to make sure that a lot of you know, if you're concerned, like I said, we're not trying to stir the pot, but if you have any concerns, and this is important because you need to pay attention, because this happens. We can't.
One other consequence that people don't understand.
Sorry.
If you happen to pop a criminal conviction, and let's say you're looking at an issue of spousal support, well, if you're the aggressor and you're asking for support, guess what? The law says nobody has to finance abuse against themselves. So say goodbye to your spousal support. If you're the person paying spousal support and you're the abuser, guess what? You're probably going to pay more and you're going to pay it longer.
Oh my goodness! Well, a lot of ramifications. All right. So either way, with you feel you might be have some issues, or you feel you're on the other end of that, let's reach out to the Domestic Violence Center of Santa Clarita. We're going to put it up on our screen at donandgino.com. Click on the Listen Chat Live. It's up on our screen. But you can call them at 259-HELP. It's that easy. Domestic Violence Center of Santa Clarita, 259-HELP. That's 4357. 259-4357. Give them a call. Find out. It can't hurt. Or it can hurt if you don't